Hello everybody and welcome to this info session on peer reviews. We are very happy to have you all today. My name is Raluca Toma. I'm working for the European Urban Initiative Secretariat and I will be your host today. We will spend together roughly 90 minutes and we have a quite diverse program to show you. With the help of my colleagues, I'd like to go to the next slide with the program. So we will start with a short introduction in the peer reviews. You will hear the basics, what they are about and how you can get the most of it. Then we will have the pleasure to welcome several guest speakers. We will have a panel discussion moderated by our lead expert for the peer reviews, Adele, and she will engage in a conversation with Fernando from Maya and with Joanna from Pleshov. Then we will have a second moderated panel discussion. This time we will discuss about the peer reviewers and their important role in our peer reviews. For this moderated panel discussion, you will have as a moderator my colleague Sandra, who is equally an expert for the peer reviews, and you will hear from the experiences and travel this time to Greece, to Pavlos Melas with Marios, and then to Italy, Vicenza with Donata. We are very much looking forward to hear from all their stories. Towards the end of the event, then, we will run live FAQs with my colleagues, Zoe and Paul. And last but not least, for the closing words, we will have a key and a guest nice speaker from European Commission DG Regio. So stay tuned for all this program that we look forward to. This event is, of course, about us, all the people that you will see in front of the camera, but it's not only about that. It's also about all of you, the people that are sitting in front of the screens and watching this event. We would very much like to learn a little bit about you and see who you are and your thoughts. So if you would like to join along, I'll propose a game to you now, an imaginary game. Let's go to the slide, please, to explain a little bit what is this imaginary game. So I'm sure you all running in your professional world very often into challenging moments, maybe new projects that are coming along. And I want us to all think now at that moment when there is a new project and a challenge coming along. What is the person or what is the place you go to seek for advice? It can be a person, it can be a group, a team, it can be an institution. So if you could please use the chat to let us know who you are, where do you come from, the city that you, or where do you come from, or the city that you represent, and the answer to this game or question, what is your reference person, team, or institution to which you go to seek for advice? That would be great. I'll let you now use the chat, and while you do that, to tell us a little bit your answers and your thoughts, I'll tell you that if ever you run into any technical difficulties throughout this event, don't hesitate to let us know, and we will do our best to help you out. And I would also like to thank here to all the technical team behind the scenes helping us out with this event. Let's now look a little bit into the chat and see what are some of your questions in terms of to whom do you go to seek for advice? I only see for the time being Maria Gina Musini. Thank you very much for your contribution, Maria. And you say that you seek advice to my colleagues and the working team. Probably you're not the only one, I would assume, for a lot of us, and hopefully we are in a context in which we can seek for this advice for our colleagues and the team. Don't hesitate as we go along. You join this event to present yourself and to let us know who is this person, team, or institution that you go to seek for advice. So maybe now we can launch the second poll that will allow us to understand a little bit better who you are and where you come from. The second question, if I can have the poll, yes, it's how many times did you attend before a European Urban Initiative event? Maybe this is your first time, and this is the case. This is a wonderful pleasure to have you with us. Maybe this is the second, the third, and so on. And then again, we are thrilled to have you. This means you are happy and enjoying our events, and that is always a pleasure. I see now the questions for the answers for the poll. So I see that for most of you, this is the first time, 56%. Then we have 18%, now it's like a tied, but I think 80% that are here for the second time, or even for the 5 or more times. So that's excellent. And then 7% 3 times and 4% 4 times. So thank you very much for having contributed to this first poll. Let's go to the second one with the help of my colleagues. And for the second question, we wanted to understand or to know how well do you feel that you already know the peer reviews, our peer reviews. So is this totally new? And then you are in the good place, because in this event we will cover the basics and you will hear a lot about the peer reviews. Have you heard a little bit about it and you are curious to know more? You know maybe the basics, but still you feel you could know more. You know everything and you're about to maybe apply, or you already participated. And we would be of course, most grateful to also hear throughout the chat, maybe from those that have participated in our peer reviews and their opinions about that. So thank you very much for having contributed to the poll. Let me have a look at how that went. So I think for 27%, so that is the majority, this is totally new. Hopefully by the end of this event, you will get first insights and a good understanding of what is a peer review. Then I know the basics, but tell me more. We also have 27%. 22%, I heard about it before and I am curious. And I already participated in a peer review. I also see that 11% of you are in this case scenario. So thank you very much for having joined us. And as I said, don't hesitate to share your insights with the rest of the participants. We can maybe stop the poll now. Thank you very much. And we can maybe show the slides, because after this short introduction, welcome words, and getting to know you a little bit more, it's time to set the scene in which we are functioning. And I will say a brief words about what is the European Urban Initiative, and then I will funnel down and explain much more about our peer reviews. So what is the European Urban Initiative? Because this is the frame in which we function. The European Urban Initiative, as the title says, it's an initiative launched by the European Commission, and our mission is to provide a coherent support for cities around Europe and to support them in their path towards sustainable urban development. How do we do that? And maybe we can go to the next slide, is throughout 3 pillars of services or activities. First, we have the funding throughout the innovative actions. So we provide the funding towards cities around Europe in order to empower them to become bolder and test innovative solutions. Secondly, we look into the people that are behind all this, the strategies, the policies, and to facilitate the future and their work on all the strategies. And that is throughout the capacity building. And the peer reviews are part of the capacity building pillar. And last but not least, we also have the knowledge and dissemination coming out of all the projects that we support and all the activities that we put forward that are then made available for everybody around Europe. Apart from these 3 pillars, we also have the urban agenda for the EU. And with that, I made a brief introduction to the European Urban Initiative, and now allow me to tell you a little bit more about the reason why we are here, and that is the peer reviews. So everything you need to know, or at least the basics of the peer reviews. Next slide, please. If I can have the next slide. Yeah. So what are the peer reviews? As I mentioned previously, the peer reviews are a capacity building activity that is offered by the European Urban Initiative. And with the peer reviews, our aim is to support the European cities to improve the design and the implementation of their sustainable urban development strategies. I would like to underline here this particular focus and specificity of our peer reviews, the fact that they are directed towards cities or urban authorities that are handling this sustainable urban development strategies. How do they work, or what is the method that is put forward in order to design and improve these strategies? Well, we are trying to do that, or the method that we put forward for your consideration is throughout exchanging with people like you, colleagues throughout Europe, that are working on the same thing. So you will exchange and you will work together with them, so at the end of this process, you will get your answers how to improve your sustainable urban development strategy, or you will contribute with your knowledge to all that. Who can participate and what are the two possible roles? You will hear us talk about cities under review and peer reviewers. So these are the two possible roles that you, your institution, can play in a peer review. And we will see a little bit more about them as we go along. But the city under review is the urban authority that puts forward their sustainable urban development strategy. And the peer reviewers are the ones that have knowledge, experience, and expertise to share on the particular challenge that the city under review has. The main milestone in a peer review is a 2-day event. This 2-day event takes place in one of the cities, which is as a city under review, in a peer review, and it brings together roughly 50 participants. How do we add up to that number? Well, usually in a peer review event, we bring together between 3 and 4 cities under review, and each city under review comes forward with their 6 peer reviewers. So when you add up all these numbers, you will see that you come up with a nice eclectic group of around 50 people representing different urban authorities around Europe, all with the very special care of the team of experts that we have mandated for this mission. Okay, so I wanted also to underline the fact that the peer reviews are a process. It's not only about the milestone of this event, but it goes beyond that. It is a process. So next slide, because this will allow you to see what is this process that I am talking about. There are 5 stages, as you can see on the screen, in a peer review. The first 3 steps are preparatory. It's when we put together, according to the challenges, we match the cities under review with their peer reviewers. Everybody starts preparing their input for the event. They look into their challenge, they look into the expertise, so that when we meet in person for the 2 intensive days, most of the times that are also backed with study visits, we make the most out of each other's presence, and we reach conclusions and specific to-dos for the cities under review for the future. So there are the 3 preparatory steps before the 2 days event. Then we have the milestone, which is the peer review event, which is step 4. And then we have all the follow-up actions afterwards, step 5. This is because there is a report done after the peer review event, also a webinar in which we meet online with everybody that was in person in a specific part of Europe, and last but not least, everybody involved in a peer review has the special occasion to also link this with a city-to-city exchange if this is relevant and they want to do it. This entire methodology has a history, and it was developed a while back by the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. We have taken that up, and we are now improving and adjusting it as we go along, and we see the experience and the return from what we are doing with all the participants. Next slide. When we are going through all this, we end up at the end with something that we like to call, or at least I like to call it, the peer review universe. So how does it look when we actually meet in person for the 2 days? This is what you see now on the screen, is an example of a concrete peer review that has happened last November in Coimbra. So the 3 cities under review, urban authorities that put forward their challenges were the functional urban area of West Athens, Coimbra, and Igoumenitsa. And each of them was paired up with their group of peer reviewers. This is what you see around them. And we all met together in Coimbra to discuss the challenges. There are things discussed in parallel according to the different challenges that are put forward by the cities under review, but we also have, of course, common sessions when we tried to empower and to make the collective intelligence of all these people and urban authorities around Europe work together. Okay. Okay, if we are going now to the next slide, what type of support can you expect from the European Urban Initiative in all this? So first there is, of course, all the expertise. And I will refer here for the cities under review, particularly on the fully fledged and ongoing support that they will get from the 2 peer review experts that will be allocated to them. And these will be their reference people throughout the entire process. Of course, then each city under review benefits of all the knowledge and expertise that is shared by their peer reviewers. Then we are talking about the actual organization of the event and logistics. We take care of everything. We will only ask if any of the cities that is involved within wants to host the event, but then we are taking care of all the production and organizational aspects. And all the participants, apart from, of course, preparing themselves for being in the review and their contributions, then have to book their travel and accommodation. Following the event, we will, of course, reimburse costs. So the principle that we are putting forward is to reimburse the costs after the participation to the event. After the event and based on a standardized cost, so lump sums, you will be able to be reimbursed. For the city under review, you can come along with a delegation that is formed of up to 4 people. And for the peer reviewers, we can have up to 2 people. But for the peer reviewers, most of the times we are rather talking about individuals representing institutions that put forward their expertise. Let's go to the next slide, please, and see concretely how can you get involved? How do you get involved in all of this? So currently there is a call open for peer reviews. Hopefully you know that already, but if not, so this is the moment to learn about it. The peer review call has been launched on the 12th of March, and it will stay open up until the 30th of April. So there is still plenty of time to apply because the application is a simple online form. And you can apply to be a city under review or a peer reviewer or both. It's throughout the same application form. To learn more about the call, you will also have this in the slides that will be shared with you after the event, but you can check the designated page on the European Urban Initiative website, and maybe I can ask my colleagues in the chat to share with you the link to this call page. Then you can read, and we advise you to read the guidance for applicants that you can equally find online. And you can always book a 15 minutes online consultation with one of my colleagues in the capacity building team. This is really straightforward. You have access to our calendars and you can pick a moment that works both for us and for you. What is the timeline? What is the peer review timeline that we have in front of us? Because as I said, the call was launched on the 12th of March. It will end on the 30th of April. We are now holding this info event to tell you everything about it. After the closure of the application, of the possibility to apply, then we will have roughly 2 weeks' time, also subject to how many applications we received, to look in all of them and to provide an answer on your application. Following this step, then we will work out the best possible matches between the cities under review and their peer reviewers. The plan is that in this autumn, so no later, in this autumn and winter, we will organize our first 3 peer review events. This means that everybody will be informed by end of June of the exact schedule of when this peer review event will be. So this is the timeline that we are looking into. And I forgot to say earlier on, but I hope you took this liberty to post questions that we went along with the presentation. Anyhow, this is now time to address maybe the questions that you might have and you have posted maybe throughout the chat, or don't hesitate to bring them along now. Okay, and we're back, looking at the chat now and seeing maybe some of the questions that you might have at this stage. Okay, I see a question. I am trying to scroll through to see some of the questions, and I'll take the one from Kyriakos. Hello, Kyriakos, and thank you very much for your question. So you ask, we are a sustainable urban development city called an Article 11, but we don't have a strategy yet. Could the peer review assist us in developing our strategy? Yes, Kyriakos, definitely. So please do come back to us with the details and envisage applying, because this is exactly a moment in which the peer review can be extremely useful for you. So the simple and straightforward answer to your question is yes. You are eligible to be a city under review, and you can benefit of a peer review. I'm also looking down to see if there are any other questions that we can reply to. I see Maria Giovanna popping up with a question. So allow me to read through it and see what are your questions or concerns there. How can we know if our individual expertise as peer reviewer is going to match the issues of the cities under review? As agent, we can have expertise on mobility, financing, climate. Yes, you're right. So the way in which it works is that when you apply, when you fill in this online form, putting forward your availability and willingness to participate as a peer reviewer, in your case, you will see that in the online form, you are asked to point out which are your fields of knowledge and expertise. When we say expertise, please bear in mind that we mean the fact that you have worked with these things in the past and that you might have some relevant knowledge to share with your peers around Europe. So we are not talking about experts in the absolute meaning of owning the best knowledge and the top knowledge on everything. So when you fill in the application form, you can put forward all the fields in which you have knowledge, and I encourage you to do so. And depending on the challenges that the cities under review have, then we will do these matches. If you put forward your application as a peer reviewer, I also want to point out the fact that you will be there and you will be kept in our database of peer reviewers from now on. So you will not need to do this repeatedly for each peer review call. So we will have you in mind once we know about you and your expertise. I hope this answers your question. Okay, I see some other questions coming in. I will maybe treat one more. So I go to Justina. I'm sorry, I'm just picking one that I can scroll too fast and see. Do we need to have a strategy translated into English to have it reviewed? No, this is not an absolute. Anyhow, what will happen is that once you are approved to be a city under review, if this is the role that we are talking about, then you will go through different steps of assessing your strategy and explaining to your peer reviewers and also to your experts what is the stage in which you are, what are the main issues that you have. So we will base a lot of what will happen afterwards on your input. It's not an absolute must to have the actual strategy translated in English, because there will be a paper that you need to produce to explain to everybody the state in which you are, and afterwards you will do a presentation. So there are all these preparatory steps in the infographic that you have seen previously. These 5 steps, the 3 are in preparation, and this is when you will need to present to us basically the stage in which you are and what are the challenges that you are facing. I hope this is clear. I saw that there are some more questions coming in, and thank you very much for that. We will treat all the questions as we go along. But if you allow me, I will now go to the very important part of our event, which is learning and hearing from the people that actually experimented all this. So after we have looked into the basics of the peer review and what are the main information that you need to know, then we will now enter the second part of this webinar and actually hear from the people that experimented it. And as I announced at the beginning, we will start by hearing from those that bear the role of city under review. Before we will hear from them, because they all connect remotely and you will be able to see all of them, we will start with a video and then you will see on screen my colleague Adele to kickstart a moderated panel discussion. The video, please.
Take one.
Peer review video. One more time.
I'm Jana from Igoumenitsa, Greece.
George from Coimbra, Portugal.
My name is Joanna. I'm representing town and commune of Pleszew, Poland.
Moschos, and I come from West Athens in Greece.
Igoumenitsa is a very small city with a big port.
Coimbra, it's right in the middle of Porto, in Lisbon, right in the heart of Portugal.
During the design of our sustainable urban development strategy, we faced three main challenges. First of all, it was funding, finding the money for it. Secondly, monitoring this whole strategy. And last of all, engaging people, engaging stakeholders.
West Athens is next to the Athens municipality, and the main differentiation is that we don't have the same level of equipment and infrastructure in our area.
We are facing some huge demographic issues, and we really need to attract people, young people, and we are counting on this program together with our peers to find the right solutions to fight our problems.
Our main goal is better quality of life for our citizens. Development plan is still ongoing process, so we are looking for new tools and new solutions.
We decided to be a city under review because we believed we could get a lot of answers to our questions and our challenges and get good practices and excellent information from other cities, experts from Europe.
Knowledge, expertise, and funding are the three main reasons that we joined this program. Together, we can find solutions.
So, good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see you all online, and I'm really, it's my honor to moderate this panel with our two cities under review. We have Joanna, the star of the video, and I'll introduce them properly in a moment, but we have about 15 minutes to tell you in detail a little bit about the role of the city under review and the advantages of taking part in the EUI peer reviews. So let me introduce my two panelists. As I said, we recognize Joanna Golinska from Pleszew in Poland, who recently co-hosted a peer review in Poland, of course. And we have Fernando Gomez, who is from the municipality of Maia in north of Portugal, in the metropolitan area of Porto, and was part of the very first pilot peer review, which took place in June last year. So thank you, both of you, for joining me today to share your experience with all of these guests that we have online. So let me go to you first of all, Joanna, and just ask you a very simple question. Why did you apply, first of all, to be a city under review?
At first, I would like to say it was a very interesting and effective time for me. As a small city under review, we were looking for some new ways to solve our challenges. So many different countries, so many people with practice and, of course, relevant experience to share in one place. So I think that was the reason that we did apply to peer review. With action like peer review, we could save our time and afford to avoid common pitfalls. That was very important for us because our development plan was still ongoing process. Our main goal was better quality of life for our citizens, and we are looking for new tools and new solutions for urban policies, especially in small medium city. We wanted to know how to minimize process outflow young people from our city, how to transform our city center to make it more alive, and how to more engage people from our community. So in my opinion, that was a good choice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think you're right. There are so many good solutions that exist already. So why reinvent the wheel? It's not a good use of your time, is it? So how did the peer review actually help you to improve your strategy in the end? What were the concrete suggestions that you got, and what are you doing with them now?
One more time, what we are doing now and how can it help? Okay, so it was a process. So first we prepared some kind of background paper with our UI expert. From this place, I would like to thank Martina and Levente. Thanks this document, our peers know more about my city, know more about the kind of strengths and weakness we have, and what kind of answer we expect. During the event, we were able to engage in very deep discussion, also in small group with 6 cities. But we also use another method, like Word Cafe. That was my favorite because for me it was very dynamic and interactive. And of course, we got added value. Very important added value, network with all of 18 cities. So as you see, event was rich in ideas. Thanks expert UI supervision, we could choose the one fit best for us. As a city under review, we got many solutions from our peers. For example, farmer market with local products. A few weeks ago, we were able to taste it on our Easter event. And I think it was a little success. So I think it will stay for us longer. Now we are working through the recommendations, and we will have follow-up webinar in June. Then we report our progress.
Yes, and we're really looking forward to hear some more about your progress. So I think the important thing for the audience to know is that not only do we accompany you throughout the actual 2 days, but we support you afterwards in terms of trying to identify the most appropriate recommendations that are suitable for your territory. So thank you so much, Joanna. I'm going to go to Fernando now and ask him if maybe you could tell us a little bit about your challenges. They were similar, but also subtly different, I think, to those from Pleshes.
Good morning, Adele. Good morning to all my fellow panelists presented. It's very special to be present here to share Maya's experience within this capacity building from the European Urban Initiative. Regarding the main challenges that you asked, Adele, I will name it 3 main challenges that we identified within our still ongoing sustainable urban development strategy to get expertise and evaluation from the UI experts and also from our city peers. The first one is that we are still currently living a very deeply and profound time for reflection and construction of strategies regarding the next programming period, especially the sustainable urban development. So, and in our case, the ERDF article that is being putting into practice is being led by our metropolitan area of Oporto. So we must create and integrate within our organization a better way to articulate the necessities of our metropolitan area with the specific necessities of each city that constitutes this metropolitan area. This was one main issue, to outline better metropolitan projects where all 17 municipalities must comply to that planning. How must we evolve in terms of our ecosystem, of our organic? The other one is that we need to involve the community in the construction of this sustainable urban development with this special focus on our youngsters. It is a key issue for us. We are a very youthful city, and we want to involve them as much as we can in construction this sustainable urban development. Which innovative tools this exercise, this peer review exercise could help us identify to get youngsters on board. And finally, two main processes that are currently occurring throughout the world, not just only Europe, which is the energy and digital transition. We must embed these two main revolutionary process in all public policies that we are currently, not just sectoral, whether it's energy or digital processes, but it must be a transversal process throughout our ecosystem here in the city. So we wanted to also get some expertise and knowledge and how we can, for instance, tackle the importance of renewable energy communities, for instance, for the community, how to engage the community in this process. So these were the three main challenges that we discussed in Thessaloniki.
Yeah, and I think we can see that you have a combination of what we call operational type challenges, the involvement of stakeholders and the linking between the metropolitan area and the local territorial needs, but also some thematic challenges, like you mentioned about the energy and digital transition, which obviously now, for all sustainable urban development strategies, we have this requirement to include energy, digital, and just transition within them. So I think for the audience here, the important point to note is that the peer reviews are able to address challenges that are both operational and thematic. So maybe the second question then for you, Fernando, is how did the peer review help you to address those challenges? What kind of concrete recommendations did you get, and what was the process like for you?
I like very much the methodology that is implemented within this peer review exercise. First of all, not just by physically participating in the city that is chosen to receive, but the first step, which is I personally like it a lot, it's applying the so-called GRC, the Joint Research Center specific tool that was developed by them, and congratulates to JRC for this very useful tool which is this Set for UD tool that kind of evaluates your status of your SUD, of your sustainable urban development, and kind of gives you a checkup of the strategy and which main points are your stronger and weaker points. And that's the first stage, the first step for the upcoming meeting, where you are going to have the so-called experts and your city peers. So first of all, I like it a lot, this first checkup that kind of helps you to prepare for the city under review experience. Then the role of the experts, in this case, Levente and Sandra, that I didn't know then, but I know them now. And they were very, in an informal way, which I liked a lot, they were very helpful in outlining the main challenges that we must address when we are developing our sustainable urban development. So we must see them as not as formal evaluators, we must see them and face them as critical friends to help you to obtain, not just them, but also, of course, our peer cities, to obtain a solid and robust sustainable urban development strategy. With the experts and our city peers, then we get a sort of critical path to upgrade your proposal that you outlined for the city under review exercise. And this is what I liked a lot. The final report, which is the output of the final stage of the city under review process, it kind of gives you a concrete prescription to tackle, in our case, the three challenges that we have identified. We've already are starting a modification in our ecosystem organic, in order to create a special cell to tackle the energy and digital transition. And we have recently approved a project, an European project from the European Innovation and Technology, which was recommended by our expertise within the city under review exercise to boost the participation of our youngsters, namely school. So as you can see, it's kind of an upgrading process of your surge, but not in a formal way. It's not a heavy, it's not a burden, but very likable process. So it's kind of in the holistic way.
Great. And I think what's really nice to hear from both of you is that there were some concrete actions that actually came out from this, and some opportunities for different sources of funding, which is great. Okay, so moving away a little bit from how the process improves your local strategies, let's look at some of the other advantages. So, Joanna, you were co-hosting the peer review, let's say in Poland in January. For those people in the audience that are thinking about possibly applying to be a host, what advantages do you see of that in that process?
For me, peer review is fantastic promotion tool. For my city, it was a chance to show that small city could be also impact for the others. We will present good practice, local good practice. As you see, Pleszew is compact city. It's also first 15-minute city in Poland. And since a few years, we implementing our original housing policy. During visit study, we show also how we transformed our revitalization area to a big cultural center. Fernando was in Pleszew also, and Fernando was also my peer. One more time, Pleszew could exist on European map. So I am very happy, and I would like to say something to the others. You could have a large delegation in your city, representative from local government, central government, regional government, but also NGOs and stakeholders like citizens. So I think this connection is so important for future collaboration. And remember, it's only up to you how much of this you take with you home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was there in Pleszew as well. And I had the pleasure at the end of the event to hear from the national representative, who told me that she'd never been to your region before, and that now, for her, you were identified on the map, and she would be keeping an eye on some of the projects coming from your region. So it's true, it's a great way to promote what's happening locally. So we need to wrap up, Fernando. If there are people still in the audience after all of these wonderful testimonies, hesitating about applying to be a city under review, what would you say to them?
First of all, before answering directly to your question, Adele, let me just outline that it's not, because this is something that was also a doubt in our mind when we were preparing our proposal for the city under review process. It is not mandatory that the city must already finish it or have a sustainable urban development strategy ready in the oven, which was our case. We had other strategic processes that can be used to participate within the city under review process. So this is a first hint that I wish to identify and to give to our audience. Then responding to your question, I'm a big hiking fan. I love the fresh air in order to revigorate my energy to what I do on a daily basis. So for me, the participation in the city under review process is like a breath of fresh air, a moment that you take a break from your usual comfort zone, and you expose what have you been doing regarding your city strategy towards sustainable urban development, and you get different points of view from your city peers, and sometimes it's very comforting to realize that your city peers, your colleagues have the same problems, have the same doubts, and can really help you, give you some hints, some clues to overcome many problems that they have already had within their ecosystem. And by that, the main output for me, it's that you kind of get a better compass regarding your sustainable urban development strategy. And like Paulika said, this is a process, and for us, it is still a process. We are looking forward for the third product within the capacity building from EUUI, which is the city-to-city exchange that the meeting in Pleshev, in the beautiful city of Pleshev, allowed us to identify cities that can have interest in sharing with us urban problems that they will also tackle within their sustainable urban development strategy. So this is, I will definitely, if for the audience that are listening, I will definitely participate, because it is really relevant and valuable for your work.
Great. Well, I mean, I can't sell it any better than our two guests have done. But what I would say is, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to meet peers, to have a sort of therapy session, a common therapy session, to realize that other people around Europe are facing the same challenges that you are, and that there are solutions out there, and that there are possibilities for further collaboration. So thank you so much to my two esteemed guests. One final word for me. I think everything has been covered. We can answer the questions in the chat, of course. But what I wanted to say is that both of my panelists here, representing cities under review, have also been peer reviewers. So please, for those in the audience, think about, consider applying for both roles. Actually, you always have something to offer, even if the word expert is a little bit frightening. It's not, you don't need to be an expert. You need to just have a bit of experience and knowledge about how these strategies are developed and implemented. So thank you so much to Joanna and to Fernando, and I'll hand back to Raluca for the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Adele, Joanna, and Fernando. That was such an exciting dialogue to listen to. I didn't think I will ever hear somebody praising a methodology. So, Fernando, I have to grant you that. That is a bold affirmation. So, thanks for that. It's lovely to see all the enthusiasm also from Joanna. So, thanks again for all your testimonials. We are preparing now to go to our second moderated discussion. Before that, I just want to take a moment and maybe highlight the importance of the people that were already mentioned by the cities under review, and these are the peer review experts. So with us today we have two of them. You have seen Adele, you will see in a moment Sandra. but there is a team of 9 extraordinary, excellent, and very empathical experts that, as was already testified, will accompany you in this peer review process. So don't hesitate to apply and get to also know them a little bit better. Allow me now to go to the next session, which will be to go on the other side of the mirror and to talk about and with peer reviewers.
Peer review, take one.
Action.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I come from Łódź, Poland.
Gianluca, Genoa, Italy.
I'm Casper from Murcia, Spain.
I'm Paola from the most beautiful city in the world, Venezia.
Why? Because there's water there? Okay, Venice is beautiful, I can't dispute that, but they don't have pierogis. We've got pierogis in Poland.
In Genoa, we have solved the problem of stakeholders' engagement. That's why, as a peer, I'm here to help the other cities to find solutions.
Murcia is a beautiful city, the 7th biggest city in Spain, and it has almost 500,000 inhabitants, and we're currently finishing up on our SUD strategy.
I work for the city of Venice, that is the water around the mainland, the petrochemical area, the third airport in Italy.
Which is famous for its architecture, mainly townhouses built in the 18th and 19th century while the textile industry was booming. Unfortunately, after the wars, it collapsed, so our historic city centre got degraded. And that's why we focused in our strategies, on bringing back life to our historic city centre.
That's a great opportunity to exchange experiences with the other cities and to better understand what has worked and what hasn't worked in our experience.
What Murcia is getting out of this peer-to-peer review is to learn from its peers and also to contribute to their SUD strategies.
Taking part in a peer review is a two-way street. I believe that I can learn a lot and bring my experience in what we do in Łódź to other cities in Europe.
For me, at a professional level, it is a fantastic opportunity to spar with my colleagues in high-level discussions on how to improve our cities for everyone.
Guilty as charged. This is my second time as peer in this kind of activity. But because it is very nutritious, I need to admit that I got a lot of food for thought from the previous one.
I can visualize more than reading on the paper, and so this is very added value for me.
Well, good morning to everyone. I think that most of you probably know these 4 people in the video. And if you know, because they're all over, you can imagine that it's worth it to be a peer. So if you don't know them, let me introduce you my 2 panelists today. Donata Gaspari, she's the coordinator of the EU Project Office at the city of Vicenza, and Marius Asteriu, project manager of EU projects at the city of Pablos Melas. I know there's some other peers in the audience, so if you guys can be answering the same questions in the chat, that would be great, so we will have more opinions. But let's start with Donata. You have been, Vicenza has been city under review. You have hosted a peer review. You have been peer. I mean, you have been everything that you can be in this process. So what do you think is the added value of being a peer? Or like Fernando said, which I like a lot, the description, being a critical friend. What is the added value for that?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sandra. First of all, the chance to be a peer reviewer, it is an amazing experience, in my opinion, professional and personal. Thank you very much to the UI staff for the involvement and the possibility to share my experience in this info session with other European Union city colleagues. There are 3 main points from my side. First, you can share your knowledge, practical experience, and good practices on designing, implementing, and monitoring the sustainable urban development strategy of your city or of your functional urban area. Second, you can learn good practices and try to find common solution to the same sustainable urban development strategy challenges with the other European Union cities under review, but also with the other peer colleagues. At the same time, you are first an active giver, but second, also a passive receiver. In addition, third, I think the peer review event is a well-balanced mix between a working session, workshop, working groups, study visit, and so on, and social one. Coffee breaks, lunches, dinners, after dinners, why not, and so on, in order to better get to know each other, also for future collaborations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Donata. I think you have mentioned sharing experiences in designing, implementing, and monitoring such strategies. And I think this is very important because it helps us start thinking about the type of practices that can be exchanged. So every municipality, no matter the size, has to go through these steps of designing, implementing, monitoring their strategies. So this is an important insight. I think size don't matter here in the peer review process. Size don't matter. Marius, you have participated twice as well in the peer review process, but the first one, Pavlos Melas, was a stakeholder because he's part of the metropolitan area of Thessaloniki, who was the city under review. And the second one, you were a peer, if I remember well, in Coimbra. What type of experiences can be shared? Because I've seen questions about what experiences do we have to share. So what type of experiences do you think you can share?
So good morning from me as well. Good morning from Thessaloniki, from Greece. Thank you so much for taking me in this great event today. Sandra, what I want to say actually about the type of experiences, mostly what type of a municipality we are. The municipality of Pavlos Melas, what can give is on what it is. We are a part of the broader municipal area of Thessaloniki, and because of that, 12 municipalities comprises this metropolitan area. We have participated in many inter-municipal committees in order to face common challenges with the other municipalities concerning sustainable mobility, circular economy, and urban greening. And to these directions, as a municipality, we have acquired some good experience in co-creation strategies, in multi-level governance. And apart from that, because of the competitiveness of these metropolitan areas, we had to work really hard in order to safeguard the implementation of our projects and to secure extra funds to subsidize our priorities. Apart from that, as a municipality, we have been implementing many huge projects, and because of this experience, somehow we learned and we had to put some extra effort in order to mobilize all the relevant stakeholders in and out the municipality, and especially concerning the municipality and how we coordinate all the departments. We had to make many intra-municipal committees in order to holistically formulate our strategy and eliminate any doubts about priorities and proposed actions. Of course, because we are quite an active municipalities, we have made many mistakes and we have learned many things from our mistakes, and we have to give things also about what to avoid once you formulate strategies.
No, that's a good one, learning from mistakes. And that's one of the most appreciated insights, I think, that you can get from others.
Yes.
So it's also interesting what you were mentioning about understanding what is a good practice. You need to have like a worded good practice, but we are talking about experiences that work well, like you mentioned, the way multi-level governments has to be involved, or the way you involve stakeholders. So everything that helps the strategy in the step designing, participated, implementing, monitoring, or financed. Donata, until now, I think we have been talking a little bit about what can you give. You were talking, I like that, I think at the beginning you mentioned active giver and passive receiver, something like that. So we've been talking about what you give, because you're supposed only to give when you're a peer, but you are also a receiver, as you mentioned. So what are the results? What did you bring back as a peer?
Yes, Sandra, I think the key results for my city and my functional urban area are first, better understanding of specific challenges of our strategy. Also, what does and what doesn't work in its design and implementation, as Marius said, benchmarking the strategy with other European strategies on sustainable urban development. I think it is important also as key results the networking. The other European Union cities involved are possible partners for future collaboration and the development of new ideas to present joint European Union projects. I think also it is an important result, the improvement of my city positioning at European Union level, showing our commitment to sustainable urban development, also in order to attract other partners. This is from the point of view of my city. Speaking about my professional and personal experience, I think the key results are high-level professional exchange with other peers working on strategy, on sustainable urban development strategy in the European Union, improving my personal skills and capabilities, but also meet other peers. From the professional point of view, I have reached my list of European Union colleagues, but from the personal one, also the list of friends.
That's for sure. And I think I like the way you have made a difference between the added value for your city, but also for you as a person, because remember that peers apply, they represent the city, of course, but they apply as individuals. So this is also very important. And obviously the networking, I mean, this balance is true between the informal and the formal part of the methodologies is great to increase your networking. And also create opportunities for city to city. That's also important. Marius, how about you? Because you are the king of opportunity. You know how to find. What I know from you is that you know where opportunities are. So what are you bringing back? What are the opportunities?
Okay. So what else? Of course, I agree absolutely with Donata. And for me, all the participation as a peer review gave me the opportunity to connect and talk with the rest of the peer reviewers and also with the people from the city under review. And I get improved and I enhance my knowledge. It was like, let's say, a huge pool of innovative and elaborate ideas in order to construct my own SUD strategy. And also, I became better and I was able to correct and improve myself, set proper goals and find more efficient somehow solutions to potential problems. And what I really loved also was the methodology of peer review. It's a great methodology, very educative one, and a great example as a meeting structure. And so for me, I could realize and adopt ways to tackle multiple stakeholders. And apart from that, also, I felt that some kind of self-fulfillment and the fact that my work matters. And as Donata, I think, said also, it's a great opportunity to socialize, communicate, exchange ideas, and from different cities, and also submit joint projects, EU funding projects, which is also a great opportunity among others, Sandra.
Yeah, that's great. I know that some of you are meeting other cities to get projects together.
I think my colleagues from Drama had the opportunity, Katerina had the opportunity to already to see some people from different cities. And also I had the chance to communicate and cooperate with my colleagues from different Greek cities apart from European ones. So that was also great.
Yeah, that's another good point. And also that the meeting structure is something you can use. Fernando mentioned that as well. You can use and it's important because during the process, we also use methodologies from URBAC that you can learn in the way to involve stakeholders and so on. So thank you very much. Now, if we have to kind of finish this panel, what would be the motivating words you could tell the audience to see if they should apply for being a peer? How do you motivate them? Be emotional, come on. Make them cry, make them apply right now.
Can I start?
Sure.
Of course.
To be honest, I am proud to be part of this special UI team composed of excellent urban peers and friends from Europe. From my side, I highly recommend to participate to this amazing experience. It is really an amazing experience, I'm not joking. Apply for the open call as peer reviewers and follow UI and be part of the team. You will enjoy.
It's interesting because now, as Adele mentioned, the call is open for at the same time for both sit under review and peer review. So maybe you can think about the possibility of applying for both at the same time. Marios, how about you?
Yeah, it is a great experience. I met so nice and well-trained people full of ideas about SDG strategies. We exchanged ideas, we had some fun, and why not? Why not? It's great to visit new places, new cities, somehow go deep into the local urban life. For me, all this methodology was like a multicultural festival of multi-level ideas, and I learned so many things. I definitely propose everyone to apply, and really once you participate, you will see all these nice people and get close to this beautiful methodology. So I hope to see you around.
Well, you probably think that we have chosen the two most enthusiastic and motivated peers, but I promise they all think the same, and they keep on applying and applying. Come on, let other people apply. So, well, just to wrap up a little bit, I would highlight a couple of ideas. You don't need to be a super expert to be a peer. You just need to have successful experiences in the way of design and implementing, monitoring, financing the suite strategies, no matter the size of the city you represent. It is not only about sharing your experiences, but there's a lot of opportunities for you to benchmark your city, yourself, to get new contacts for future programs, for city-to-city cooperation, because everything, as you see, is connected within the peer review process and the capacity building offer in the European Urban Initiative. And I think it's one of the best networking scenarios, because during this process, and especially in those 2 intensive days of the peer review where you will meet in person, you will have access. We're talking about 50 people, but they're representing around 20 cities, 20 urban authorities. And this is something that is a great opportunity. So don't go, just stay there, because right now you're going to listen everything about the practical issues on how to apply to finish the session. So very nice to see you, and hope to see you applying and see you around the process. Thank you. And thank you, guys. You've been great.
Thank you.
I'm not even sure how to follow up after that, because indeed there was so much enthusiasm, and you spoke such lovely words that yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, like, everybody I hope is convinced already about all this. And to wrap up on these 2 sessions and the wonderful guest speakers that we had speaking about their role of city under review and then as a peer reviewers, I would like maybe to learn from you now in which of these roles you would be most interested in. So with the help of my colleagues, let's launch the poll. So which role are you most interested in? City under review, peer reviewer, both, or I don't know yet. Let's see, as you are voting, I also underline and thanks not only the guest speakers, but also the people that are participating to this webinar, and that I have seen they already contributed to the chat with their own impressions of the peer reviews. So I think we're putting together an excellent argumentation for somebody to want to be involved in the peer review. So thank you for all that. Let's look now at the results of the poll. So I see that it's a tie, like it's an equality. 30% are interested in city under review. 30% are interested to be peer reviewers. 25 would like to do both, excellent, and there is 16% that don't know yet. For the 16% that don't know yet, as I said, if ever you think we could speak to you and see what are the issues, concerns, or questions that you might have, don't hesitate to come forward. We will be happy to do so. We can close the poll now. Thank you very much for your participation. And we are slowly going towards the end of this event. But we shouldn't end before now going through the maybe most frequent questions around the peer reviews. It's been a year now that the peer reviews have been launched under the European Urban Initiative. And of course, by testing and putting this forward, we also constantly learn. And one of the main aspects from which we learn is also the questions that we hear a lot about from you. So now we will do a little bit of magic. I'll disappear and you see my two wonderful colleagues, Zoe and Paul, appear, and they will go through some of the most frequent questions related to the peer reviews. Let's do the disappearing.
Hi, so hello everyone. My name is Zoe Fournon. I work for the EUI as a capacity building officer. And today, as Raluca said, we're going to review the most frequently asked questions that you encounter when you're applying for a peer review. And my colleague Paul, who is also a capacity building officer, will help me today answering those questions. But today, Paul, you're not really a capacity building officer, are you?
No, exactly. Today I'm going to be representing the city of Groningen in the Netherlands.
Why Groningen?
I studied in Groningen during my bachelor studies, and I like the city a lot, so I decided, why not represent Groningen today?
I'm sure there was great memories there. So how can I help you today?
Well, so I read about the peer review service and I'm really interested. Our city is experiencing some urban challenges, but we also have some expertise in other areas. Mm-hmm. So I think that we could be very suitable in participating as both a city under review or a peer reviewer.
Okay, so the first thing you need to do when you're applying is to check your eligibility criteria. And so to do that, you need to go on the EUI website and check if you're an Article 11 city. So an Article 11 city, in short, it's a city that has been designated to receive ERDF funding to develop their sustainable urban development strategy. So you go on the EUI website and you check the webpage that is called Article 11. So my colleague Eleonora will be sharing it in the chat. And you go on the list of Article 11 cities. And when you open it, you can filter it down by countries and see if you are an Article 11 city or not. And so, as you can see, for the Netherlands, the city of Groningen is not part of it. There's only 4 of them.
Okay, so does that mean that I can't participate in a peer review?
No, you absolutely can participate. It's not the end of your journey. It just means that you cannot be a city under review. Because in peer reviews, we're reviewing Article 11 strategies, so strategies that are receiving funding from the RDF. However, the expertise, the relevant expertise on sustainable urban development does not only come from Article 11 cities. So as a peer reviewer, you most likely have very good experiences and really relevant insights to share.
Amazing. I would love to be a peer reviewer. So how can I check my eligibility for that role?
So then again, you need to go on the EUI website on the page of the call. So again, it's shared in the chat. And there you see that there's an Excel table that is called correspondence table. And this correspondence table, when you open it, you can see, it's a massive Excel table, but you can see in column H, basically the code, the GERBA 1 or 2 or 3. And to be a peer reviewer, you need to be the GERBA 1 area. So as you can see, it's a good news. Groningen is the GERBA 1, so that means that you're eligible to be a peer reviewer.
Amazing, cool. I'll love to be a peer reviewer. I have another question as well. Mm-hmm. So I have a friend who is working for a functional urban area, and he was also interested in participating in a peer review. Is that possible?
Yes, completely. You can apply as a functional urban area. So basically, you need to redo a little bit the steps that happen. So check your status of Article 11 city or not, or check if you are if the majority of your population lives in the Gerba 1 or 2. We know that it's a bit complicated to check this. So if you have any questions, please contact us, and we'll be here to help you check your eligibility.
Great. I'll tell it to my friend. So now that I know that I can work as a peer reviewer, where can I start with my application?
So we try to do the application form as simple as possible. So we put it on the EU survey. Then again, you can see the link in the chat. And it's composed of 3 parts. The first part is general information. So we ask questions about your city, about you, and we ask you to tick the box. So if you'd like to be a city under review, a peer reviewer, or both.
In case you do have any more questions, any topics, any things that we have not covered in this little playthrough, don't worry, there are many multiple channels through which you can reach out to us. You can send us an email in the capacity building mailbox. The email, oh, hey, Raluca, nice to welcome you next to me.
I did my magic again,
Yeah.
and now I'm replacing Zoe. Hi.
Okay, nice.
Please continue, Paul, sorry.
I was just talking about how there are different ways in which interest people and groups could reach out to us. There's the capacity mailbox. The link will be shared in the chat.
Yeah.
And we also offer 30-minute personal consultations that you can book with any of our capacity building officers. And there again, they will have 30 minutes just to listen to your questions and help you out as much as you need.
Yeah.
So I think actually that we do offer, and we really try to be there for you throughout the entire application process and help you whenever you need our help.
Yeah. Hopefully we cover all the different aspects of the help that you might need. So there's some reading for you to do with the guidance for applicants. There is a webpage where you will find all the details of the peer reviews and the details of the call. And then, as Paul just mentioned, we are there for you whenever you need us. So don't hesitate to reach out via email or also to book a consultation so that we can meet with you in a video call, basically. Should we take some questions? See if there are some questions in the chat.
Yeah, we can take some questions.
I think we can go now to the chat and see if there are any particular questions that come from your way, because this is why we are here, to treat any questions that might be there. So don't hesitate to put out your questions. Okay, there was a question that I have seen about what is a Decurba city. So my colleague Eleonora has already replied to that, but that is just an acronym by which we try to verify, according to the Eurostat data, which entities in Europe are are supposed to be cities and which aren't, because this service is mainly for urban areas. Okay, I think I also wanted to clarify maybe an aspect, because there was a question earlier on in the chat about how many cities under review can we put together in this call, or what if there is a number for that. And I can tell you that we will seriously consider all the applications that come through. As long as there is this eligibility and you are in charge of the Sustainable Urban Development Strategy, we will very closely look into the application. Our scope is to organize 3 peer reviews this year, so that means roughly between 9 and 12 cities under review. But if there are more eligible and relevant, they will of course be considered then for early 2025. This is when we are talking specifically about the cities under review. When we talk about the peer reviewers, of course, there's no limit there. Everybody is more than welcomed and encouraged to put forward their expertise. And as we said, your knowledge, your experience, and your expertise. And as we said throughout the application form, you can tick boxes of all the different fields in which you have worked before. I will have a look now to the chat to see if there is any other question that we need to answer, but I don't think so. So with thanking very much Paul and Zoe, I will now go to the closing words. Can we have the slider, maybe, the changer? Thank you. Okay, and we are back for the closing words of this exciting, I hope, peer review session. We definitely heard from a lot of people very passionate about it, so that is excellent. For the concluding words, I have the honor and the pleasure to welcome with me a special guest from the European Commission DG Regio. So maybe can bring Laura up to the screen, please. Hi, Laura.
Hello, Raluca. Can you hear me?
Yes, everything functions perfectly. Thank you very much for joining us, Laura. So, Laura Hagemann is working for the European Commission, DG Regio. She is responsible for the capacity building activities, and in that function, we work a lot and very constantly with Laura. Thank you very much for that. And she coordinates the implementation of the urban dimension of cohesion policy in her unit, Inclusive Growth, Urban and Integrated Development. So thanks again for joining us, Laura, for this closing words on the peer reviews. I will maybe start by asking you something that was asked also to the other guest speakers. Why peer reviews? Why do you think peer reviews are important?
Thank you, Raluca. Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for the organization of this seminar. It really, what I was able to follow, which was only half of this, and I really apologize, but I'm very impressed for the content as well, but for the way it looks. We've gone a long way from the old, like gatherings online. Your magic is excellent and also very agile. So I think these events are very useful. They're very necessary. Sometimes it's very difficult to reach our cities and give them this important information on what is the support that is offered to them. So I really hope that this can be repeated and maybe why not replicated at national scale. I want to thank the speakers for their enthusiasm and their testimonies. I think they are real motivators. I really like the part because, of course, the new ideas is very important. The contacts that you make during these type of sessions are very, very important. People go back with real things to do and to improve their strategy and their work. But I like also the motivation part, like the part of my work matters, to know that others are going through this type of psychological support to be part of a team that honestly is very, very needed for all of us, and it also benefits the implementation. So thank you all. Now to answer to your question, why peer reviews? Well, I have to say that, okay, it's peer reviews, they started in the last programming period when this urban earmarking started. Urban earmarking, it means that there's a pot of the money that is earmarked, is reserved for sustainable urban development, but not for any sustainable urban development. For sustainable urban development on the basis of integrated strategies that are managed by the cities on the basis of their own strategies. And this in the last programming period was 16 billion euros. In this programming period is 24 billion euros that is earmarked to these strategies and to cities. And managing these strategies and designing these strategies is not easy. So the support, the capacity building support is very relevant. We have city-to-city exchanges, we have events, but peer reviews are really designed and specifically to support the strategies, to support the design and the implementation of the strategies. So in this sense, it's very, very, very relevant. So these are concretely focusing on the strategy. They provide expert support to benchmark the strategy, to self-reflect. They give this moment of self-reflection for you people, for all of us who are implementing. We are busy with so many things that it's necessary to stop 1 second and self-reflect. We self-reflect on the challenges and the strengths of our strategies, but they also give this moment for peer learning and exchange with a wide number of curated peers. So peers that have been, selected to be able to give you support. So I think it's my opinion that it's a wonderful tool. I'm very happy that is also appreciated by the people that participated already and that they like the methodology. So yes, I mean, ultimately, this I find it a very, very interesting tool, very important and very good. I hope I answered your question, Raluca.
It's excellent actually to find ourselves in this moment and this space of crossroads, where I understand you have put forward the intention. What was the initial intention for the peer reviews? And within this 90 minutes that we have spent together, we have also listened to what is the actual effect. So how is this lived by cities around Europe? What are the main points that they are relevant to them, and so on. So thank you very much also for your point of view on that. And if you allow me a final question to you, it's more about looking towards the future, and what are the objectives for DigiRegio in supporting this type of activities on the medium and long term?
Okay, so as I said before, now in this programming period, supporting the cities is even more relevant. We have done this through the European Urban Initiative, that provides this wider support for capacity building when you look at it, when you compare it to the last programming period. So the idea for the future is to give this wider support through city-to-city exchanges, events, and peer reviews. The objective, ultimately, obviously, is to have better strategies and to have better implementation of sustainable urban development. But we would like to see peer reviews being organized in an incremental way as more Article 11 cities that are implementing the urban earmarking are appointed and start working. We would like them to be aware of this possibility, and that all of them can participate in a peer review as city under review or as peer. So this could mean that maybe some managing authorities and intermediate bodies have to take up this methodology and start applying it at the national scale. Because we would like to promote this mutual learning between cities that are facing similar challenges. It's very important. We would like and we want to create links between these cities. We want to create a relationship that culminates in a community of urban practitioners. And for this purpose, I mentioned we have the European Urban Initiative, so we count with other tools besides peer reviews. Peer review doesn't stop when the peer review finishes. And that's what we want to see, that the peer review is also at the beginning of city-to-city exchanges between two cities, of events, and also in Portico. It lands in Portico, which is this web portal that provides a full overlook of interesting initiatives, funding opportunities, and knowledge resources, and that has a section where users can upload their profile and meet each other, and it will have a community that it will be based on capacity building. So this is what we would like to create for the future. And excuse me, because the light has gone out where I am. So you see a little bit dark right now.
And thank you so much for also giving this outlook into the future and in which direction we are all actually working towards, because this is the way. Thank you very much, Laura, for your contributions. I have to apologize a little bit to everybody for being a little bit late in closing down. If you grant me 5 more minutes, that would be excellent, but please don't hesitate. I also understand if you have had other plans. But in the upcoming 5 5 minutes. It's really the wrap-up of this session. I would like to launch, with the help of my colleagues, 2 polls to understand from you how close you think you are to apply for a peer review. So if we can launch the poll, please. How close are you to submit a peer review application? I don't know if it's something for me. We are considering it. We started filling in the application, or we are very close about to push the submit button. So let us know what are your thoughts there. Excellent. We see that some people started filling in the application. That's great. Very close. We are about to hit the submit button. That's even better. We are considering it. Consider it seriously, and please don't hesitate to reach out for any type of unclarities or questions that you might have. I don't know if it's something for us. If this is your case, then maybe also consider the other capacity building services that we have. And maybe I can go to my next slide. No, actually we have another poll, please. Can we launch it? And this is more the feedback on what are your opinions on this event? So did this event meet your expectations? Yes, we go from yes very much to a certain extent. It would have been better, and no, not really. So please provide us your feedback there. It would really help us a lot to improve and do better for the future. If you feel that it didn't meet your expectations, it would be really helpful to hear from you why not in the chat. Let's see a little bit the results over there. So I see yes, very much so, 93%, and to a certain extent 7%. So thank you very much for your feedback. I would like to now mention the other capacity building services that we have, because I mentioned earlier that if you think the peer reviews is not the thing for you, we might have something else in store. So the capacity building strand of the European Urban Initiative includes the peer reviews, about which we are discussing today, but we also have city-to-city exchanges. There was an online matchmaking event done about that beginning of March, and it's also available recorded, so you can have a look. There are already 32 exchanges that were approved, and we are looking very much towards approving many more, so don't hesitate to have a look to that. And last but not least, throughout 2024, we will organize training events, which will take place in 5 countries, and those are Finland, that will be end of May. Then we will go to Ireland, most probably in September, and we'll still have to define the details for going to Sweden, Latvia, and a joint event between Croatia and Greece. Allow me also to give you an outline of what else the European Urban Initiative has to offer, because there is much more beyond the capacity building. And on the screen you will see all the different possibilities, and you will see them also in the PowerPoint that will be shared with you. But there are maybe 2 things that I would like to underline. The fact that you have the occasion to meet us again online for an info session that will happen on the 6th of May, and that one will focus on innovative actions and the call that is about to open in May. So don't miss that. I'm sure it will be extremely insightful and interesting. Last but not least, in terms of calls, there is a call that opened recently throughout which you can put forward your city to become the host of the Cities Forum 2025. So if you're looking forward to have a lot of nice publicity and put your city on the important places to go to in 2025, consider the application for the Cities Forum. Okay. I think with this we covered most of the things that we wanted to say to you today. Thank you very much for your participation, for your patience with our delay. We very much thank you for being with us. I hope it was insightful. I hope it was exciting. And we really do hope to see a lot of you returning with applications for City Under Review, for peer reviewers, and to meet you in person for one of our upcoming peer review. Thank you very much also to all the guest speakers that have joined us. I wish you a very nice afternoon and see you next time. Goodbye.